Hello, friends. This is Professor Googlom. On my channel, you mostly watch videos about the beautiful world around us. But today, it's a little different. What is it about? Keep watching to find out. The Amphitheater of El Jem. The amphitheater at El Jem is a very important part of Roman history, located in North Africa. It was built in the likeness of the Roman Colosseum, but was not an exact replica. Like most Roman amphitheaters, the structure was designed for a huge number of spectators. All kinds of entertainment of the time, lectures, plays and gladiatorial fights were held here. The amphitheater could hold 35,000 people. Today, only a shell remains of it. The ruined remains are left lying in the small village of El Jem in Tunisia. Nevertheless, it is an impressive structure. The amphitheater was built in the 3rd century AD without foundations, entirely of huge stone blocks, making it one of the earliest freestanding structures in North Africa from the late Empire. In fact, UNESCO claims it is one of the largest amphitheaters in the entire world. Although much of it has collapsed, some rather large parts of the theater remain virtually intact, such as the catwalk, arena and underground passages that served as the backstage area. Today El Jem is a village, but it was once a thriving metropolis called Thysdrus, a powerful Roman city. It is worth noting that the amphitheater was the third to be built on the same site. The other two collapsed, but the third stood. During the Middle Ages, it was used as a fortress. Locals hid inside the amphitheater and in its underground passageways during the Vandal attacks in 430 and then during the Arab invasion in 647. Until the 18th century, the ruins of the amphitheater stood untouched, but later, the Arab inhabitants began to use the unnecessary structure as a source of free building stone. Yes, this place has been through a lot. al-Rosses. al-Rosses is an ancient ruin located in central Jordan, next to the even older city of Petra, but the two are not related in any way. al-Rosses may or may not have been the biblical settlement of Mafat from the book of the prophet Jeremiah, but it really depends on which scholar you talk to. What we do know for sure is that this place was built in the 5th century AD, and can only be reached via one of the branches of the legendary Silk Road. The city emerged deep in the Jordanian desert, a hot and inhospitable place where there were hardly any animals. The Silk Road in the Middle Ages was a trade route that connected Africa and Mesopotamia. The route had branches to Egypt and Damascus, allowing for easy trade across the region. Near the end of the Roman Empire, the Romans briefly used the city as a military outpost. It was then captured by the Christians and later again by the Muslims. Most of its ruins date from the Byzantine period and the early Islamic period of the 7th century AD. Although research was conducted here in the 1980s, archaeological work was for some reason given little attention. Most of the ruins are still covered with rubble and debris, and the lost city is buried under the desert sand. Fort Londinium. Fort Londinium is an ancient Roman fortress standing in the center of modern London. It is hard to imagine, but these ancient ruins were built back in the days when London was called Londinium. The city was founded in 47 AD on the banks of the Thames. Therefore, the Romans could use it as a trading port. As the Romans arrived in the British Isles from mainland Europe, Londinium expanded. It became an important center of trade, but was then completely destroyed by the rebellious Queen Boudica of the ancient Celtic tribe of the Iceni. The Iceni were angered that the Romans had invaded their land and founded their own city, and destroyed it in 60 AD. Later, a temporary fort was built and Queen Boudica was defeated. As a result, Londinium began to grow rapidly again and became world famous. Much of the city has disappeared beneath the modern skyscrapers and housing estates of London. However, a small part of the original fortress still remains, a piece of the city wall built after the defeat at Boudica. This can be found in Fenchurch Street. Part of the grey and black brick wall, built back in the infancy of London. If only stone could speak. Sacred Center of Polynesia. Marae Tapu Tapuatia is a place once considered the sacred center of Polynesia. It is an ancient ruin located on the edge of the southeastern coast of the island of Raiti. This place is perfect for filming some movie like Jurassic Park. An ancient forest with the secrets of an extinct civilization buried among the mountains and hills. The ceremonial center is located in the middle of the so-called Polynesian Triangle, stretching from Hawaii to New Zealand, all the way to Easter Island. It is believed that hundreds of years ago, people came from all over Polynesia to meet at Marae Taputapuatia. Here priests, chiefs and the greatest warriors would gather and hold a great ceremony dedicated to Oro, the god of war. The history of this ancient island is so mysterious that historians are not quite sure what exactly happened here. They think that animal sacrifices were once performed here as gifts to the gods. The island of Raiatea is still considered the ancestral home of all Polynesians. Nowadays, there's not much left of the shrine. A stone floor, a few crumbling walls and ruined statues, that's all. The sanctuary was probably built around the year 1000, and was sometimes used for more than just sacrifices. It may have been a meeting place for mariners from all over the Pacific and a place where priests from other islands could come to talk about the gods. In the late 18th century, the people who lived here fled after a fight between high priests. In 1763, warriors from Bora Bora came and completely destroyed the sacred temple. Nalanda Gedig. Nalanda Gedig is considered one of the most impressive archaeological sites in Sri Lanka. It is hardly visited by tourists due to its remote location. The attraction is located deep in the dense jungle. It is said that the ancient sanctuary is a place without history. No one knows who built it and why it appeared here, in such an empty place. It also remains a mystery why the temple was abandoned. So far, archaeologists are inclined to believe that the temple was built sometime between the 7th and 11th centuries, during the period when the kings of India were trying to invade Sri Lanka and overthrow the local rulers. Because of the unique blend of Hinduism and Buddhism at the site, it has been suggested that the Nalanda Gedig shrine was the brainchild of a blend of Indian and Sinhalese cultures in Sri Lanka. The site was lost in the jungle until 1983, when archaeologist Harry Charles Purvis Bell rediscovered it. The sanctuary was found hidden next to several rice paddies and was surrounded by low hills and isolated forests. Bell had big plans to restore the site. More excavations were done. But nothing ever changed. No one even paid attention to the shrine until the 1980s, when it was nearly flooded. The sanctuary had to be dismantled and rebuilt on a retaining wall. It is a pity that we know so little about the history of this most interesting place. The Agora of Athens. The Agora of Athens is the ancient gathering place of the free citizens of Athens between the 13th and 4th centuries BC. It was one of the most important places in the Mediterranean region. It began as a gathering place where people could hear military orders and proclamations from the ruling king. As the years passed, the ancient agora became the main meeting place for influential Athenians. And ordinary people too, of course. Some of the first democratic groups met here to discuss the proper way to run a democratic country. There were also famous philosophers who came here to talk about the unsolved mysteries of the universe. The Agora was a sacred place on the Panathenaic Way, the ancient route through the center of Athens to the city gate of Dipylon. However, it was not the only Agora of antiquity. Places of public assembly existed throughout Turkey, Greece, Italy, and other regions where free societies flourished. The Athenian Agora is so important because Athens is widely considered to be the birthplace of democracy. People met here like modern people meet on a walk in the park. Just those people literally shaped the ancient world. Friends, don't hesitate to write comments under the video about what else you would like to learn. I will definitely fulfill your wish. Bye for now.